keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Milwaukee Brewers in the final game, not the final game, the first game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today on the mound for the Brewers, right-hander Freddie Peralta, and for the Padres, right-hander Nick Pivetta. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you from inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40 as the Padres are ready to potentially pop some champagne here tonight with the magic number to clinch a postseason berth at 1. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We'll also hear from tonight's right fielder, Ryan O'Hearn. We'll hear from tonight's third baseman, Manny Machado. And in just a little bit, we check in with Padres radio voice, Jesse Agler. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 85-71. The magic number to clinch a postseason berth is 1. The Padres win tonight. Like I said, they're popping some champagne later. Padres continue to sit in the National League's second wild card spot. They're 5 games up on the Mets and Reds, who hold the final wild card spot. They're 3 games behind the Cubs for the first wild card spot. And at the moment, if the season ended right now, the Padres would head to Chicago for a best-of-3 wild card series. Meanwhile, the Brewers are 95-61. It has been an amazing season in Milwaukee. The best record in baseball. They clinched the National League Central title yesterday. They're 3 games up on the Phillies for the first seed in the NL postseason bracket. So that is still what the Brewers have to play for, with 6 games remaining, clinching home field advantage throughout the postseason. Before we turn the page fully to tonight's game and a possible clinching scenario tonight here at Petco Park, let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Yesterday in Chicago, the rubber game of a 3-game series against the White Sox. Sean Burke against Michael King was our starting pitching matchup. The Padres got a rally going in the top of the second. Jackson Merrill hit a leadoff single. Gavin Sheets hit a 1-out single to send Merrill to third base. Then this happened.
Burke is set, and he'll throw to first base. Sheets goes back in, standing, and the throw gets away. Merrill will come in to score. Sheets is at second, and he will hold up there as Sosa's throw comes back in. Kickoff throwing error by Sean Burke, and the Padres take a 1-0 lead.
With 2 outs and a runner still in scoring position, it was Jake Cronenworth.
And on base a bunch, and now a line drive punched up the middle into center field base hit. Sheets racing around third. He'll come in to score, and Jake Cronenworth an RBI single to give the Padres a 2-0 lead here in the second.
Burke creates some firewood, but Jake Cronenworth doesn't care.
Padres led 2-0 heading to the third. Fernando Tatis Jr. led off.
As Fernando Tatis Jr. stands in against Sean Burke. First pitch on the way. And Tatis swings, hits it in the air deep to left field. Robertson is back to watch. This one gonna go about halfway up the bleachers in left field for Fernando. His 23rd of the year. And the Padre lead is now 3-0.
Fernando got loose. First pitch he saw.
Michael King went 5 scoreless innings. King's final line, 5 innings, no runs, 4 hits. He did walk 4, struck out 4 on 70 pitches. Padres bullpen was a little shakier than usual. Mason Miller inherited a bases-loaded jam in the 7th inning. He walked in a couple of runs to make it 3-2. Padres still led 3-2. Going to the 9th inning, Robert Suarez came in.
Here's the pitch to Vargas. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Blew him away with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. And a 1-2-3 night for Robert Suarez, who collects his 40th save of the season. And the Padres edge the White Sox 3-2 to win this series 2-1.
Padres winning the series in Chicago, and now they return home for the final 6-game homestand of the 2025 regular season with an opportunity to clinch a postseason berth here today in this series opener against the Brew Crew. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, let's go inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Jesse Agler in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
Well, Jesse, during the course of the season, you and I often talk about nights and games where if you're driving around right now, you don't have plans tonight, you kind of got to stop and say, hey, maybe I should get to Petco Park tonight. And it feels like tonight is one of those nights, both because of the opportunity the Padres have tonight, but also this pitching matchup, which is just a marquee matchup against between two of the best right-handers in the National League. This is an exciting night.
No doubt about it, and certainly you begin with the fact that the Padres are into the postseason with a win tonight. That is the place to start, certainly. And then, presumably, I guess, Paul Skeens is going to win the Cy Young in the National League. But these two guys, for the Padres, Nick Pivetta, for the Brewers, Freddie Peralta, they're going to be in the top 3 or 4 of voting, right? Yeah. And so you've got a marquee pitching matchup. You've got a potential champagne celebration. So as you said, Sammy, if you're driving around, probably a couple of tickets available, not many more besides that. And you're thinking to yourself, boy, I'd like to see something special. Tonight will be a great night to come downtown and hang out with 45,000 of your friends.
And even if you can't make it to the game, we will have you covered right here on 97.3. The Fan has the potential to be a very, very special night here at Petco Park. And let's talk a little bit more about Nick Pivetta, Jesse. It feels, and we'll see how it all transpires tonight, but it does feel kind of fitting that it would be Pivetta with this opportunity today because he has been the ace of this staff all year. You consider him signing during spring training. I don't know that any of us could have predicted Nick to be this good, but it feels kind of fitting that he's the guy to have this opportunity tonight.
No doubt about it. And, baseball doesn't always work out that way where you're going to be able to throw the guy at the top of your rotation in a game like this. And when it happens, you're right. It does feel like something that was meant to be. And where would the 2025 Padres be without Nick Pivetta? I think Tony and I threw out there yesterday, or at least I did, that you could make an argument for Adrian Morejon being the team MVP in 2025 as he was wiggling his way out of that bases-loaded, nobody-out jam in Chicago. I have a similar conversation about Nick Pivetta. And again, if you step back and you look at the entirety of the season and you think about the innings that he has eaten, the fact that he has taken the ball every 5 days, this will be his 31st start of the season here tonight. And I think the answer to the question is very simple. Where would the Padres be without Nick Pivetta in 2025? They would not be trying to clinch a playoff spot on September 22nd. And he's been absolutely huge for this team. And so a wonderful opportunity for him to go out there tonight against a very good offense, obviously, and try and seal the deal for this team and finally punch that ticket.
And you mentioned it. The Brewers have a great offense. They've been a great, great team this year. They clinched the National League Central title yesterday. Best record in baseball, 95 wins. They seem to love playing for their manager, Pat Murphy. Quickly on the Brewers, your thoughts on them coming in, because what they've experienced in Milwaukee this season, it certainly seems like they've had a very special year.
They've had an extremely special year. They had the long winning streaks that kind of got the whole thing started. They were just sort of starting to get rolling when we saw them back in June, and the Padres just shut them down. I mean, it was really impressive what the Padre pitching did that entire series as the Pods took 2 out of 3 close, low-scoring games at American Family Field. But, they seem to have really come into their own since then. They're going to put the ball in play. They're going to run wild all over the bases. You got to be ready for anything. It's, the joke off the air that I've made with Tony a bunch is that, it's just, 7 guys who are exactly the same, and then Yelich and Contreras. And it's just a bunch of guys who all have really good baseball skills. They seem to all be good defenders. They all run the bases well. They all make contact. And then they got a couple of guys who can, thump you a little bit as well. So it's a very well-constructed roster and a team that plays really good baseball most of the time.
Yeah, and a team that has a very, very good pitching staff as well. They're dealing with some injuries right now, but certainly the guy in the mound tonight for the Brewers, Freddie Peralta, he has had a terrific year. So a great pitching matchup tonight. Pivetta against Peralta. Hopefully, fingers crossed, We're hearing from you and Tony later as Tony is popping champagne down there inside the clubhouse. We'll see how it all shakes out. Jesse, appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you and Tony coming up at 6:30. Thanks so much.
You got it, Tim.
All right, that is Jesse Agler joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network as we get ready for today's game. Padres magic number is at 1. The math today is very, very simple. The Padres win, and they are into the postseason. The Padres don't win tonight. Well, we continue this conversation into tomorrow, but because the Reds don't play, because the Mets don't play, the Padres are the only team really involved in their scenarios playing tonight. It's very, very simple. Padres win, and they clinch a postseason berth, and if they do that, we will have all our great coverage for you right here on the Padres Radio Network. When we come back, we'll take a look at the Padres lineup today. There are a few absences from the lineup today, so I do want to get to that. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. A little bit later, we hear from Ryan O'Hearn. We'll also hear from Manny Machado. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage as we walk you up towards first pitch coming up at 6:40 here on the Padres Radio Network. Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 6:40 for Game 1 of this three-game series between the Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers. Padres with their magic number to clinch a postseason berth down to 1, a win, and they're in here today. That is the scenario. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres. Right-hander Freddie Peralta on the mound for Milwaukee. We have a marquee pitching matchup for Game 1 of this three-game series. Everybody having a good time inside the loft right now. Very busy inside the loft. We have plenty of people enjoying their beers and their mixed drinks and their sodas, all the great food they have to enjoy here at Petco Park. It is Luisa Rye's bobblehead night, so a lot of people here early to grab their Luis Arraez bobbleheads and having a good time, hoping to celebrate a second consecutive postseason berth here tonight. Padres got to take care of their business, a win, and they're in. A look at the Padres lineup today looks like this. There are a few absences, and we'll talk about those in a second. Luis Arraez at first base leading off. Manny Machado at third base batting second. Jackson Merrill in center batting third. Gavin Sheets, the DH, is batting cleanup. Ryan O'Hearn in right field batting fifth. Jake Cronenworth at second base batting sixth. Bryce Johnson in left batting seventh. Jose Iglesias, the shortstop, batting eighth. And Elias Diaz is doing the catching and batting ninth with, again, right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound. The couple of notable absences from the lineup today. Fernando Tatis Jr. not in there. He woke up not feeling well, so he's not in the lineup today. We'll hear more about that from Mike Shildt a little bit later. It is a scheduled day off per Mike Shildt for Ramon Laureano. So Tatis not feeling well. He's not in the lineup, and Laureano's scheduled day off. He is not in the lineup, so that's why things look a little bit different today. Arraez, Machado, Merrill, Sheets, O'Hearn, Cronenworth, Johnson, Iglesias, and Diaz, 1 through 9 in the Padres lineup. This Brewers team, they are really, really talented. They've had a great year, and they're playing most of their regulars today despite clinching the NL Central title yesterday, celebrating, taking a flight to San Diego. Christian Yelich leading off, Jackson Chourio batting second, Bryce Terang batting third, William Contreras batting cleanup, Sal Frelick batting fifth, Vaughn, Collins, Durbin, Ortiz. This is a very regular-looking lineup for the Brew Crew, so should be an interesting night. Freddie Peralta, tough test for the Padres offense. Nick Pivetta against most of the best that the Brewers have to offer, and this could be the kind of matchup you see come the National League Division Series. Of course, the Padres would have a little work to do one way or another to get there, but it could be a situation where the Padres face a guy like Freddie Peralta in an NLDS. So we could have an NLDS preview here. We'll find that out over the course of the next week or so. As we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40, let's go downstairs and hear from Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Hey, Mike, for the first time this season, you come to the ballpark with an opportunity to lock down a playoff spot. Is there any emotional room for that today, or is it more business as usual? Let's take care of business on the field.
Oh, there's emotional room for this. This is why, from the day after last season, we get ready for a day like today, and that's a lot of blood, sweat, tears go into it, and need to take care of business and make it happen.
Yeah. How good is it to have Nick Pivetta on the mound for you to get it done, the guy you've been able to depend on all season long?
Yeah, it feels great. We're really excited anytime Nick's out there, but tonight is really cool, and I expect him to go out and pitch very well.
Only one other team in franchise history has reached the postseason in back-to-back seasons. How important was that and a goal for you coming to this year and what it is?
Yeah, it's very important to the organization. I mean, we're in a good, I think, right in the beginning of the best era of Padre baseball. As far as, one of the primary things that excited me about taking this particular role and being the manager of this club is a lot of things, but really the expectation of sustained success, and sustained success is ultimately how you're consistently going to the playoffs and being a viable playoff team. And so, it's something this group, it means a lot to, and we're excited to go make happen.
When you're in a situation like this where if you win this game, you're in the playoffs, do you manage it any differently or talk to your players about maybe not getting too hyped up because of what is at stake?
We normalize how we compete. So it's not like today we're going to go, the guys know what today's about. And, as far as managing different, I'm managing every game I've ever managed. So I don't think it's going to change today.
The Diaz-Pivetta combo has worked very well for you guys this season. Have you put thought into whether that would continue into October and what that might look like? I know not put the cart before the horse, right, but those two work well, and whether that continue.
I think we expect Diaz to stay with Mr. Pivetta. It's worked well, and they get along very well and are in sync. And I wouldn't see any reason to change it regardless of circumstance.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt earlier today inside the Padres dugout. I thought there was a really good question at the end there from MLB.com's AJ Cassavell about that Pivetta-Diaz pairing, because you think about it, let's say the Padres are playing game one of a wild card series, let's just say hypothetically in Chicago next week. Well, let's assume that the Padres can line it up where Nick Pivetta would start game one. Well, that would mean that if you're going to keep that pairing together, you'd have Elias Diaz start game one, whereas Freddie Fermin has kind of been your starting catcher here for a while. So that was a good question, and we'll see how the Padres end up lining things up come the postseason. But right here, right now, Diaz behind the plate today with Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres. First pitch coming up at 6:40, game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Brew Crew. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Out-of-town scoreboard, not the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll have the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later. Pardon me. Around the horn. I got a little mixed up there because we're going to focus on, there's not much on the out-of-town scoreboard today. So we're going to focus on where some different races are in the postseason as we enter the final week of the regular season. And then I promise we will have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard later, but there are only 3 games going on today across the majors. So here are some of the situations you want to keep an eye on, really, in the next week. Both the Tigers and Mets have spent more than 170 days in playoff position this season. Never in the wild card era since 1995 have 2 teams missed the postseason after spending that many days in a playoff spot in a single season. And the Mets and Tigers are both in some serious danger of missing the postseason right now. The Tigers have just a 1-game lead on the Guardians in the American League Central, and if they fall out of first place, they'd be in danger of missing the postseason entirely. We'll talk more about the AL wildcard race in a second. The Tigers play the Guardians in a huge 3-game series starting tomorrow in Cleveland. The Mets, meanwhile, are tied with the Reds for the final National League wildcard spot entering today. But the Reds have the tiebreaker, so right now the Mets are on the outside looking in. The Mariners made a big statement over the weekend. They swept the Astros in a 3-game series and took a 3-game lead over Houston in the American League West. The Astros now head to Sacramento for a series starting tomorrow. The AL wildcard picture looks like this at the start of the day. Yankees comfortably sitting in the first wildcard spot. They're 3 games up on the Red Sox, who sit in the number 2 wildcard spot. Then the Red Sox only a game up on both the Guardians and Astros, who sit tied for that final wildcard spot. The Rangers are out of it. They're 5 games back. But the Guardians and Astros are sitting tied for that final wildcard spot. And again, the Guardians only a game back of the Tigers, who they now play beginning tomorrow as far as the division in the AL Central. So if the Guardians take over that division lead, Tigers would drop down to a situation where they could be tied with the Astros. They could be behind the Astros, even when it's all said and done as far as the wild card picture. So a lot of fascinating races around Major League Baseball as we enter this final week of the regular season. And that's around the horn on this Monday, September 22nd, to give you an idea of what's going on outside the Padres situation as far as the postseason picture is concerned. When we come back, we'll hear from Ryan O'Hearn. We'll hear from Manny Machado. We also have the latest on Xander Bogaerts. Xander not activated before today's game, but it sounds like maybe a good possibility that activation comes tomorrow. We'll hear from Mike Shildt on that when we come back, and much, much more to come as we get you ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40 here at Petco Park on the Padres Radio Network. SoCal, Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch is coming up at 6:40. Game one of this three-game series between the Padres and the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll hear from Ryan O'Hearn in just a bit. We'll also hear from Manny Machado in a little while as well. But first, let's give you the latest injury updates.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
Oh, before we get to the update on Xander Bogaerts, first let's give you the latest on Ramon Laureano and Fernando Tatis Jr. Like we said a little bit earlier, you looked at the lineup today, no Fernando, no Ramon Laureano, so you said to yourself probably, that's kind of weird. Here was Mike Shildt on why both Tatis and Laureano are out of the lineup today.
Laureano's a scheduled day. He's been going pretty hard. Toddy is not feeling great. Didn't wake up feeling really good. So we're getting him checked out. So his is more, from a reason, and Laureano is more from just he's ridden pretty hard and he's ready to go, ready to get a day off his feet.
Is that an illness for Toddy?
Yeah, he's not feeling good.
So that was Mike Shildt on why Laureano and Tatis are out of the lineup. Fernando, again, not feeling well, so he's not in there. Ramon Laureano, a scheduled off day, and hopefully both those guys can be back in there tomorrow. Xander Bogaerts continues to work his way back from that non-displaced fracture in his left foot. He spent the last few days in Arizona rehabbing, playing in some minor league games, getting at bats, taking ground balls, all different kinds of stuff going on in Arizona. He was back at Petco Park today, went through a very extensive workout, but the Padres did not activate him before today's game. Let's hear from Mike Shildt on Xander.
Yeah, before you guys maybe saw batting practice, he went through quite a workout and got him on the bases and really stretched him out, home to first to third, second to home, and then took him through a nice ground ball routine that, forced him to go to all different angles, backhand, slow roller, forehand, double plays, feeds and pivots, and he really looked good. He looked really good. Then he took some swings off the machine in BP and just got through sitting down with him and feels good. And unless something, unfortunate happens, we would expect him to be in there tomorrow. But we just have to see how he recovers from today, which is a pretty extensive workout, but he looked fantastic.
So that was Mike Shildt, the latest on Xander Bogaerts. So again, Xander not activated today, but sounds like as long as he recovers well from today's extensive workout, he will be activated tomorrow. So that certainly will be very good news. So fingers crossed, Fernando, Laureano, Xander Bogaerts hopefully can all be back in the lineup for the Padres tomorrow. And that's the latest on the Padres injuries. As far as the Brewers, Brandon Woodruff went on the IL yesterday with a strained lat muscle behind his surgically repaired right shoulder. He is a very important piece to the Milwaukee rotation. Brewers are also without their closer, Trevor McGill, right now. He's dealing with a flexor strain, and left-handed pitcher Jose Quintana, who's been dealing with a calf injury. Brewers have had a great year. They do have a couple of pitching injuries right now in what's been a terrific pitching staff. Like we said, Brandon Woodruff among them, and McGill, Quintana also still on the IL. We'll see what their status is heading into the postseason as we get ready for first pitch coming up at 6:40. We'll talk a little bit more about Ryan O'Hearn coming up in a bit, but he's had a really good couple of days at the plate for the Padres. Had that big bases clearing double on Saturday against the White Sox, helping the Padres win that game and ultimately win 2 out of 3 in Chicago. Here was Ryan O'Hearn earlier today inside the clubhouse with myself and some other members of the media. First on if an opportunity like the Padres have tonight to clinch a postseason berth gives the teams more juice and energy in a game like this.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, we've had focus and juice on every game. We want to win. We want to clinch the playoffs. We're still chasing the division. We have a lot of, goals to accomplish. And I know there's only 6 games left, but a lot can happen in 6 games. So, I'm going to say the same old cliche, one day at a time deal. Definitely exciting, potentially celebrating after, potentially win today. But yeah.
Ryan, back-to-back 3-hit games for you.
what's worked at the plate the last couple of days?
Yeah, a little lower half adjustment. I think over the last couple of weeks, I kind of got out of whack with my lower half, and then I was kind of searching and, working with the hitting coaches, trying to figure out what was going on. Definitely didn't feel like myself up there, but, the last 3 days, really, I know I had 3 strikeouts the first game against the White Sox, but I kind of had figured a little something out with my lower half going into that one. And, it's been good the last 3 days. It doesn't guarantee hits, but, I definitely feel good in the box right now, and I just want to keep that rocking.
You face a guy on the mound tonight in Freddie Peralta who, hypothetically, depending on what happens in October, you could face again. Is that a good thing to maybe get a look at a guy like that if you could face him come October?
Yeah, I think so. I think hitters, they gather information, sometimes subconsciously, but definitely gather information every at bat, every pitch you see. And, potentially, I don't know. We don't know yet where we're going to be playing, but to potentially face him and these guys in the playoffs at some point is, something that we're going to talk about. And we're going to be, hyper locked in on this guy tonight and see what information we can get.
When you were traded over here to San Diego, were these the type of games you envisioned possibly playing in, clinching games, October baseball, stuff like that?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this is like the coolest part of the season, in my opinion. Obviously, you grind all the way through the whole year, and it can be monotonous with so many games. But, you get to the end here, and there's, the potential to play in some really, really cool games and meaningful games in October and do something special as a team. And it's like we're right there on the brink of it. So in my mind, I just want to get hot. I want to be feeling as good as possible going into, playoff baseball. And obviously we haven't clinched yet, but, once we clinch, I think you kind of take a breather. But I'm definitely looking forward to postseason baseball. I want to get hot. I want to feel good in the box going into it, and I want to make an impact.
Do you think momentum carries at the end of the season, or is it more like confidence that a player might have in himself going into the playoffs? What is it about the final games that matter?
I think you kind of touched on both, really. I think individually you want to feel good in the box. You want to be, contributing, swinging the bat well, having that personal confidence going into the postseason. And then as a unit, I've seen how momentum can carry teams. The team that comes to mind is the Rangers in 23. They came into Baltimore and they were hot, and it just seemed like, it was just just a force. And it seemed like even when they made outs, they just were hitting the ball hard and making plays. And, there was definitely a momentum to it. So, and you saw what they did. So, I want, hopefully, that's what I want for this team. I want that momentum, that just excitement to go out and win every game. And so you can kind of feel it. I know I could feel it on the other side of the dugout a couple of years ago. So I think that's ideally what I would like for us to portray.
That was tonight's Padres right fielder, Ryan O'Hearn. O'Hearn in right field tonight. As we said, no Fernando Tatis Jr. in the lineup tonight. No Ramon Laureano. The Padres outfield looking a little bit different today. O'Hearn in right. It's Jackson Merrill in center, and Bryce Johnson playing left field here today with right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound against right-hander Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brew Crew. We'll also hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado coming up in just a little bit. You heard from Ryan O'Hearn. Let's tell you a little bit more about O'Hearn as we give you our keys to tonight's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number one, you got to deal with Yelich. The Brewers' Christian Yelich is having a really nice year. He's no doubt sort of the leader of this Milwaukee team, the face of this team. He's been really good lately. Yelich is slugging .509 in his last 42 games, 9 home runs, 31 RBIs in that span, batting leadoff today for Milwaukee. That's key number one. Key number two, we love to see more hits for O'Hearn. Ryan O'Hearn went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs on Saturday in Chicago. Then yesterday, he was again 3 for 4. So he is back-to-back 3-hit games. He's done a nice job as of late. O'Hearn with a bigger role here tonight, batting 5th without Fernando, without Laureano. in the lineup. Still no Xander Bogaerts in the lineup. Padres need a guy like Ryan O'Hearn to keep on rolling here today. That's key number 2. Key number 3, I'm going to sound a little broken record-y with this one, but no runs allowed in the first inning. This has been a major focus of mine, and I think a lot of you over the course of the past handful of weeks. The Padres allowed a run in the first inning in 5 of the 6 games on their road trip. Yesterday was the only day they did not allow a run in the first inning. Out of the last 35 games, Padres pitching has allowed a first inning run in 16 of those games. So that's nearly half of those games in that span. The Padres, by the way, in those 35 games, they're 16-19. So not allowing a run in the first inning, in my mind, no doubt, a key to tonight's game. Nick Pivetta, he's terrific, but he is going to face that really good top of the Milwaukee order in the first inning tonight. Yelich and Chorio and Terang and Contreras and Frelick, 1 through 5 in that Brew Crew lineup. Don't allow them to score early in this game. That's key number 3. And key number 4, Merrill Madness. Jackson Merrill, he has been red hot at the plate as of late. Last 15 games, he's hitting .317. But it's not just the batting average for Jackson. It's the fact that he's slugging. He has 13 extra base hits in that 15-game span with 6 home runs. That ranks as the second most extra base hits in the majors during that span. And that's a look at our keys to today's game, game 1 of this 3-game set between the Padres and the Brewers. Now let's take a quick look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard. I say full look, but there are only 2 other games going on today aside from this one. Kind of a weird day where I suppose, everybody's got off today, and then they'll play Tuesday through Sunday aside from essentially a handful of teams. Braves leading the Nationals 8-5 in Atlanta in the 5th inning. The Cardinals and the Giants in San Francisco at 6:45. Coming up later, and that is it. Aside from this game in San Diego between the Brewers and the Padres, and quite frankly, if you want to say the Giants are still in it, okay, but this is the only game going on where you can definitively say it's between 2 teams or even involving teams that are really in the playoff picture right now. So we'll enjoy it here tonight. 2 other games, Braves up 8-5 on the Nats in the 5th, and the Cardinals and Giants coming up later in San Francisco. When we come back, we'll tell you what to watch for in today's game. There is an aspect of this Brewer team that you have to pay attention to in this series. We'll preview a great starting pitching matchup here tonight between Nick Pivetta and Freddie Peralta, and you'll hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado. All that and more coming up when we come back on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show on the Padres Radio Network.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then to the stadium. Go to my booth, spend the morning cutting video from the night before, catching up on email, and researching for tonight's game. Then I go home, shower, get my work clothes, and on this day I made a stop for lunch. Barbecue. Then I drive back to the stadium, get our equipment ready like setting up all the mics. I watch batting practice, talk to the players, coaches, write my lineups in, keep researching, and prep for my pregame interviews. Change from this to this. I head down to the field, host my pregame show on TV, then back upstairs where I broadcast every pitch on TV and radio.
And the Soft Poodles win.
When you watch baseball on TV or listen to it on the radio, have you ever wondered how you hear this sound so clearly? At my stadium, that sound comes from this mic behind home plate. It's wired all the way up to my broadcast booth, where I plug it in, and that's how you hear it. During my broadcast last night, everyone wanted me to say avocado. Could I do it? Beautiful night here in San Antonio. So nice it almost feels like that feeling when you break open an avocado, you spread it on a good piece of toast, you take a bite in the morning, and with that, the 2021 season, and with that, the 2022 season, and with that, the 2023 season, and with that, the 2024 season comes to an end.
good night. As a baseball broadcaster, many of you have asked me some version of this. Why do I peek down when a fly ball goes in the air? Let me show you. In my scorebook, I write down the defense and where every player is. That way, I can do this. 2-2 on the way. Swinging a drive into left. Going back, Matajevic drifting by the fence. He's looking up and say goodbye.
People keep asking how I go to the bathroom during games. Here's the answer. I run. The bathroom is far away. Really far. I only have 90 seconds.
The bottom half of the sixth
I'm
inning.
always out of breath.
Frisco 3, Amarillo 2.
How other broadcasters handle a foul ball.
Yeah! Hacks!
How I handle
3-2.
one.
Hit foul straight back this way. Oh my goodness.
When you watch people on TV, have you ever wondered what are these foam things that go over the microphone? Let me show you.
This is a windscreen. They're really helpful when you're broadcasting outside.
Without it, do you hear that wind? But with it on, I sound much more clear.
Welcome to a day in my life as a minor league baseball broadcaster. Start my day with a cup of coffee, then...
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 6:40. We'll hear from Padres third baseman Manny Machado coming up in just a moment. The Padres with an opportunity here tonight to clinch a postseason berth. The magic number is down to 1, so what should be a capacity crowd here in downtown San Diego, I am sure, ready to party here tonight. We'll see if the Padres can do their part and beat the Milwaukee Brewers. Great starting pitching matchup. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres and Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brew Crew. Let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For. Presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in game one of this 3-game series. The Brewers, they're a great team. We understand that. But one thing they do really well, they steal a lot of bases. They've stolen 159 bases this season, the most in the National League and the second most in baseball. When they get on base, they really, really like to run. Keep that in mind here tonight with Nick Pivetta on the mound. And when he gets guys on base, he has to do a good job tonight controlling that running game. And that's what to watch for in tonight's game against the Brewers. Padres third baseman Manny Machado spoke with the media earlier today. Here was Manny on the opportunity to clinch a postseason berth here tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting if we win and we're in. Yeah, we would clinch our ticket, but I mean it's not over. I think we want to continue playing good baseball, finish off the season strong, and finish off the season on a strong note, which is the most important part. But to kind of just punch that ticket, I think it makes it a little easier for us to go out there and continue doing our best to finish out the season at a strong note.
How much pressure not just to win, but to make a deep run in the playoffs with the group that you guys do have?
I mean, that's the point. I mean, I think that's what we play for, is to try to win it all. I don't think anybody could stand up here and say that we're gonna just make it and go home. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we just got to control our game. We control our own destiny, and we gotta try to do our best part every single day to go out there and be the best that we can every single night when we put on that uniform.
That was Padres third baseman Manny Machado batting second here tonight. We have a pitching matchup tonight between two guys that should receive Cy Young Award votes. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres, 32 years old. He's 13-5, a 2.81 ERA in 30 starts this season, 176 innings. He struck out 185, walked 45. Pivetta ranks 6th in ERA in the National League. He ranks 7th in innings pitched, 3rd in opponent batting average at 195, 2nd in whip at 0.97. He's 6-3 with a 2.05 ERA in his last 15 starts. His last start came against the Mets on Wednesday in New York. He gave up 3 home runs in that game in 4 2/3 innings. It was the first time he didn't complete 5 innings in nearly 3 months. Meanwhile, right-hander Freddie Peralta on the mound for the Brew Crew, the 29-year-old having a great year. 17-5, a 2.65 ERA in 169 plus innings. He struck out 195. Peralta has the 3rd lowest ERA ERA in the National League, the most wins in the NL. He ranks top 7 in strikeouts, 4th in WHIP at 107, and has the second lowest opponent batting average in the league at 190. Tonight, he'll look to become the first Brewer to win 18 games since Chris Capuano did it in 2005. Peralta beat the Angels last week. He allowed just 1 run in 6 innings, a season-high 10 strikeouts. Peralta faced the Padres on June 8th in Milwaukee. He went 6 scoreless innings, but the Padres won that game 1-0. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. Well, this should be a fun one here at Petco Park. The Padres with an opportunity to make it a very, very special night. The magic number to clinch a postseason berth is down to 1. It's win, and you're in for your San Diego Padres tonight. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Tony Gwynn Jr. have the full starting lineups. First pitch and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network.